Morning, everyone. My name's Steve Trotter, and I am Careers Hub Lead here in Hertfordshire. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to give you your Enterprise Advisor induction today. Please feel free to pause the video along the way and take breaks if you need to. So in today's session, I'm going to talk to you about who the Careers and Enterprise Company are, the role of the Enterprise Advisor that you volunteered for, and the careers leader that you support in school. I'll also talk you through the Gatsby benchmarks, which is good for careers in England, and tell you a little bit about the history and where we are currently with those in Hertfordshire and within England, which have got nothing to do with the Great Gatsby. We'll also talk about the tools that help schools work out their benchmark scores, Compass and Compass Plus. And we'll go through the performance of how Hertfordshire is doing and any areas for development. We'll also talk to you about a great resource called HOP, Hertfordshire Opportunities Portal, which has got great labour market information on it and loads of other resources useful to yourself and to the careers leader you support. And we'll go through some resources, problem solving, and some key dates for the Hub this academic year. So we are the Careers and Enterprise Company. We're overseen by Hertfordshire Futures here in Hertfordshire, part of Hertfordshire County Council. And our mission is to inspire and support young people into the fast-changing world of work. We want to strengthen those links between education and yourselves as employers to help Hertfordshire young people be more work ready. We want to raise the profile of quality careers and back the Gatsby benchmarks. And we want to raise aspirations amongst young people here in Hertfordshire and help every young person find their next best step. How do we do that? We do that through our priorities and the work, which could not be done without you guys volunteering and helping support us. So we have some priorities to raise the quality of careers provision in schools and colleges against the Gatsby benchmarks. We want to drive more high quality experiences with employers for students and teachers through things like our teacher encounters, where teachers come out into employers to experience what it's like out in the world of work. And also things like workplace experiences and visits. We want to amplify apprenticeships and technical routes here in Hertfordshire so that everybody knows about all of the options from college to university to apprenticeships to T-levels, every option for every student. We focus on interventions, particularly for economically disadvantaged young people, those on free school meals and facing other barriers. And we also want to connect careers provision in schools and colleges to meet the need of the local economy. So we want to make as many young people aware of our growth sectors and where there's skill shortages so that they can pair together. So overall, we're here to build networks. We want to support the careers leader who oversees the programme in each school in Hertfordshire and back the Gatsby benchmarks. What we're going to do now is watch a short video from the Careers and Enterprise Chief Executive, Ollie de Botton, tell us a little bit more about what I've just talked about. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ollie de Botton and I'm the Chief Executive of the Careers and Enterprise Company. I just wanted to share with you some information about our mission, our vision and our priorities. We have been governed by the careers strategy, the government's careers strategy that has just come to an end. And in a way it's been replaced by the FE and Skills bill, which is going through Parliament at the moment, which seeks to put skills at the heart of the education system. We're also governed by the statutory guidance around careers, and we feel very privileged to be part of the system going forward. So that governs our work, but within that we've got a mission, we've got a vision, and we've got some priorities. So our mission, which I hope we share with you, is to help every young person find their best next step. And we know that the best next step is not the same for every young person, which is why it's absolutely fantastic that we've got FE, independent training providers and apprenticeship providers as part of our network, so we can give young people access to all the options. We know that some young people face difficulties finding their best next step, and that careers education has a role to play in removing barriers where we find them. We also know that what we experience influences where we go, which is why we place such an emphasis on employers getting involved in careers education, helping young people, inspiring young people about what's to come, including the routes in. So these assumptions lead us to a vision. We want modern, high quality, 21st century careers education for everyone, everywhere. And how are we going to do that? We want to support schools and colleges as much as possible to deliver brilliant careers education. We want to support employers to engage in education with purpose and for the long term. And we want to include every young person in careers education, regardless of their starting point or circumstance. So what are our priorities for this year? Well, there are three. The first one is we want as much impact as possible in the system. And what does that mean? That means amplifying those high quality technical and vocational routes, including apprenticeships. It means listening to the voice of young people to make sure the inputs that we're putting in have the right impact on them. And it means using some of our digital tools, particularly Compass Plus, that will allow us to track what intervention is having what impact. Our second priority is making sure we include all young people in careers, education, working to remove barriers. What does that mean? It means connecting employers to education and educational institutions that need them most. It means having a focus on those key transition points where we know that sometimes talent can be lost. And our third priority is making sure the system is set up for the long term. And that means one thing: focus on leadership. So we'll continue to train those careers leaders with tools and techniques to support their careers programs, and we'll continue to seek to raise their profile and status in the profession. We'll provide additional support for governors, head teachers, college principals to support the system. But we'll also make sure that discussions about economic growth are also discussions about careers education, putting careers education front and centre of the economic debate. So in short, we want to have a high impact system, we want to include every young person, and we want to focus on leadership. Maybe that is simple, but we think that's the right approach for.
Thanks, Ollie. So how we do that in Hertfordshire, you're supported by our team of enterprise coordinators who are led by Gareth Dace and myself. So Gareth is our strategic hub lead here in Hertfordshire. I'm Steve Trotter and I am operations lead. We've got Chris Doughton, who oversees Broxbourne and East Hertfordshire. Heidi Stroud, who's the enterprise coordinator for Stevenage, North Herts and part of Welling and Hatfield. Shay Costello, who works in Watford, Three Rivers and Hertsmere. Caitlin Coogan, who oversees St Albans and Decorum, and Alicia, who is enterprise coordinator for the special schools here in Hertfordshire. So you're becoming an enterprise advisor. We're hoping that will help you develop some skills. And we want you to find out a little bit more about what an enterprise advisor is and what you'll be doing, which will obviously be giving back to your local community and helping people in Hertfordshire understand your organisation and your employer a bit more. So what we want to do is find out a little bit about why you wanted to volunteer as an enterprise advisor. So feel free to pause this at any point and think about this yourself. Why did you want to volunteer to be an enterprise advisor? Was it to help young people facing similar barriers when you were at school? Did you not get any careers guidance when you're in school and you feel it's something you'd like to give back? Is it something where you want to use your professional skills and experience and part that onto the next generation, or show young people what your sector has to offer? So have a bit of a reflection time and have a think while watching this video.
Helping to change the system, helping schools shape the future. The role of an enterprise advisor has such huge capacity to impact the lives of young people.
It's about making connections between schools and the world of work, making students aware of the different pathways and opportunities that are available.
The value an enterprise advisor brings to all of this is that they bring a set of eyes that a school or college may not have.
To help the careers leads understand the needs of tomorrow's workforce.
It gives me the personal growth to be able to deal with much greater things than I could without the role.
We work very closely with career advisors to make sure their programs are relevant and up to date with both policy and at the same time curriculum guidance as it pertains to industry.
Linking employers and education together is absolutely vital. It enables schools, teachers, everybody to stay up to date with what is current, with what is now, because after all, they're at school learning. What are they going to do with their GCSEs and A-levels afterwards? So what an EA brings is really valuable.
It's really important to me that young people have the opportunity to explore the world of work, and this is an entitlement for everybody. It's not a nice to have, it's a must have.
If you really want to make a difference to young people and your community, then I'd recommend being an enterprise advisor over anything else.
So in Hertfordshire, the structure of what we do, we're the Careers Hub. So we're a set of 114 schools, the colleges, the special schools, the education support centres, who try and work together and share best practice, supported by you guys as enterprise advisors and a group of key cornerstone employers and partners who are in the middle of this slide. Cornerstone employers are big Hertfordshire employers that maybe have enterprise advisors or multiple enterprise advisors, but also holistically look at the whole county on how they can support deeper. So examples include Tesco's, Morgan Sindall, Sky Studios, Warner Brothers, the police, Balmer and Kirkland, Computer Centre, to name but a few. And what we'll do is we'll meet in school maybe 3 or 4 times a year with your careers leader. And the careers leader is the person that oversees the programme in the school or college you're working with. They may have an enterprise advisor already working with them that you can get to know, or you might be their new enterprise advisor working on your own in partnership with the careers leader and your enterprise coordinator. And then the school itself might have a careers advisor. So that might be the careers leader, but more likely it might be an independent person doing careers advice for the students, particularly at transition points in year 9 for GCSEs, year 11 as they move on to sixth form or college or into an apprenticeship, or at the end of year 13. And what we're trying to do is all work together and put young people front and centre. So the careers leader, you as the enterprise advisor, your enterprise coordinator use the tools available such as Compass to inform your best practice, align with business engagement, back the Gatsby benchmarks and support that school to do as best as it can with its careers programme. So as an EA, what does an EA do? They champion careers, they build that relationship with the careers leader and senior leadership team. You connect employers either within your own organisation or your own network. You give strategic input to their careers programme, what are they looking to achieve this year, over 3 years, over 5 years. Be that business expert, particularly regarding your own industry that you work in. Help them evaluate their careers programme 3 times a year at the end of each term. So once each term, they will look at their programme and evaluate that to the Gatsby benchmarks. And then as that relationship builds, become their critical friend. So ask them those kind of supportive questions. I see that you haven't got many students going into apprenticeships. Is there more we could do? Is there a group of students we could work with to support them apply to apprenticeships, for example? And this is more of a strategic role, but where you do have capacity or willing, then there's opportunity to get involved in operational delivery. So things like mock interviews, mock assessment centres, etc., or give a careers talk. So again, some of the things you could get involved in, you could help them look at their career strategy, help how they evaluate it for students, for parents, for teachers. You could help look at their work experience programme. When do students go out? How is that funded? How often do they go out? Have they tried any new approaches like visits, shadowing, bring a child to work day for parents and carers? What kind of things are they doing there? It's now a legal duty for students to give talks to students from year 8 up to year 13 around all of the options, but particularly around apprenticeships and technical education. So could you or a colleague give a careers talk about your sector and maybe bring an apprentice that you know along to help with that talk? Could you get involved with a curriculum subject? Could you collaborate on one of the benchmarks where they've got a low score? Could you put an event on or an activity that help boost that score? Could you run an enterprise competition with some students? Is there any mentoring going on in the school? Maybe a group of free school meal students in the sixth form would benefit from some business mentoring, for example, or supporting an apprenticeship group when it comes to applying and getting ready for their applications. Or could you run a business breakfast to get more employers engaged with that school? Lots of different ideas, and your enterprise coordinator can help with more ideas as well. So within Hertfordshire, we use a tool called Compass Plus, which takes about 20 to 30 minutes to evaluate the careers programme in the school from year 7 up to the year group that they go up to. And within that, there is also some other tools within it. One is called the Future Skills Questionnaire, and it helps students look at their skills, their work readiness, and their next steps and what their ideas are. And it also highlights students who aren't sure what they want to do to make sure they can get careers guidance. Could you host some teachers at your organisation to have a tour and talk, or host some students who could come and have a workplace visit or tour and talk as well? Check in with your careers leader. In Hertfordshire, we're running a Hertfordshire Careers Leader training this year, but there's also online versions of that. So yeah, lots of things you can get involved in here in Hertfordshire. There's a couple of different options of how you can work as well. Sometimes we can pair you one-to-one with a school, and then you get to know them, their careers program, and help them with their strategy. Or if you're got more capacity within your role within your organisation, so you are outreach or something like that, you could become an agile enterprise advisor where you get involved in particular projects with a few schools, or you work with a few schools as their enterprise advisor. So there's a bit of flexibility within the role, and you can move from one to the other or be both. 2 or 3 times a year, we'll also run networking events. So as the academic year goes on, we'll have more events that we can invite you to. But as a start for 10, depending on when you're watching this video, we've got one at the Cell and Gene Therapy Catapult in Stevenage on the 16th of October. And we've also got one on the 23rd of October at Britvic head office in Hemel Hempstead. Do ask your enterprise coordinator for more information, and also for other dates as we get later in the academic year if you're watching this a bit later in the year. There's other ways that you can get involved as an employer as well. We've got the Hop Into Apprenticeships and C-Levels event we run each year. Last year we got 600 parents sign up to this event, and about 30 employers and lots of different providers as well. So if you're a parent with a young person interested in apprenticeships, you can sign up that side. Or if you're an employer who would like to offer local Hertfordshire-based apprenticeships, then there's also the ability for you or your organisation to sign up as an employer as a free stall holder at this online event on the 29th of January. So careers leaders, they are the main person you'll be supporting in your role. They quite often have multiple hats within the school that they work in. So they might be a careers leader, but they could also be a full-time teacher, or they might be an assistant head, or they might be head of safeguarding. So they've got 2 or 3 hats quite often that they wear, as well as being a careers leader. So 30 or 40 hours a week they may be teaching, but then they do this on top of that as well. So on average, we know that careers leaders only get about 6 minutes a day to check their emails. So sometimes it can take them a little bit longer than in the business world for them to get back to you. They really appreciate your help and support, and they need it because of how busy they are particularly. So they oversee the leadership of their program, the management of their careers program, the coordination of it, and then networking with people like yourselves. Within the leading, they'll be looking at what the teachers, the admin staff, the heads of year group will be getting involved in the careers program. They'll be making sure that they're up to date with policy and strategy, reporting into the senior leaders and governors about the program, understanding careers guidance and labour market, and ensuring that they're up to date with things like provider access legislation and their careers strategy on their website. They'll manage the program and look at schemes of work to make sure things are going in each year group. They'll be monitoring what's going on with the careers advice and guidance, and making sure the right students are getting access to that early or more often. They'll also be looking at things like work experience and workplace visits, managing their own CPD and that of the other careers staff and teachers. And they might have a careers budget, which is usually smaller than they would like it to be. They'll coordinate things as well. So they'll liaise with the colleges, the PSHE coordinators, personal social health education lead in the school, which is where careers might focus in the programme, and looking to liaise also with the SENCO, who looks after the special needs students, and the head of sixth form as well. Then they would love to do more networking, but with how schools operate at the moment on limited budgets and trying to get cover for lessons, they would like to get out and do more networking, but sometimes that can be quite tricky for schools. so that they get to network with employers, apprenticeship providers, and other organisations. So this is also where you can help bring those kind of things to them. Each school is set up a little bit different, just like a business. But in an ideal world, it's great to get a team around the careers programme with different roles within the school. So it's not just the careers leader. So in an ideal world, in your first meetings, you'd like to maybe find out if they've got a link careers governor and maybe invite them to one meeting each academic year. Is there a senior leadership person that the careers leader reports into, or are they already on the senior leadership themselves, say as an assistant head? Do they have a careers advisor in the school? And do they have a careers administrator to help with things like work experience, careers guidance, appointment letters, etc., etc.? So over the first 24, 25 minutes, we've gone through quite a lot of information. If you'd like to just step away for a quick comfort break and grab yourself a cuppa, pause the video and come back soon. So welcome back. We're now going to talk a bit about the Gatsby benchmarks, which is good for careers guidance. Back in 2014, a former Hertfordshire head, Professor Sir John Holman, did some research around England, Europe and around the world to see what good careers guidance looked like. And he put this sort of melting pot together, all the best practice, and created the Gatsby benchmarks. So in Hertfordshire, 113 of the 114 schools use the Gatsby benchmarks. And in England, about 4,750 schools use the Gatsby benchmarks. So over the last 10 years, these have gained more and more traction and more buy-in from schools and colleges around the country. Gatsby Benchmark 1 is about having a stable careers programme. So have you got activities running in each year group? So for example, a school that goes to sixth form from year 7 up to year 13, is there different programmes running and different activities building so that a student would be more informed and closer to the workplace as they leave? Benchmark 2 is around labour market information, or LMI, and getting access to that to the students, teachers and parents. Benchmark 3 is about addressing the need for each pupil, linked quite closely to Benchmark 7. So making sure that students have information, advice and guidance and opportunities to hear from apprenticeship providers, colleges, universities, all the full range, training providers, colleges, everything, so that they get well informed to make their next step decision. Linking curriculum learning to careers, one of the harder benchmarks to hit. So is careers within the PSHE programme? Is careers linked in National Careers Week? Do they have lessons, say maths, that link to business? Is that something that you could get involved in? Benchmark 5 and 6 is around employers. So things like work experience, visits, talks, tours, all these different options to give students the opportunity to know what the world of work is like. And benchmark 8 is around personal guidance. So it's getting that key transition points, access to information and advice about all the different options, as well as self-reflection to know about skills, what's the student good at, what could they build on. So when they're making their GCSE choices in year 9 and they're making their next steps in 11 and 13, they're best informed about the opportunities available to them, particularly locally in Hertfordshire. So each term, typically around December, March, June time, we will get each school to complete their Compass audit or Compass Plus. Great to get you to either have access to that report or be there in the meeting when it's happening to gain a better understanding of their programme, their areas of expertise and their areas for development. And Compass data is scored out of 8, and a school can score between 0 and 100% on Compass. So on the right-hand side of the page in green, you've got the schools that are currently scoring 100% out of each benchmark. So for example, 77% of schools in Hertfordshire are scoring 100% on benchmark 1. And the lowest benchmark in Hertfordshire and in England is benchmark 7. So for example, 64% of schools in Hertfordshire are scoring 100% at benchmark 7. So if you use the left-hand side of the page to reference which benchmark it is, and the right-hand side to get a sort of an average score, and then you can see where the school you're working with is in comparison to Hertfordshire and to England. So in Hertfordshire, scores tend to peak in the summer and they get a bit lower throughout the year as the activities are being planned in and executed. So at the end of last academic year, we were up to 6.6 out of 8 benchmarks on average, and England was at 5.9 benchmarks out of 8. This will probably dip down as the year goes on and then rise again in the summer term, just to give you a bit of a picture as to how we're doing. This is an example of a Compass report. Please do ask your enterprise coordinator or careers leader to give you access to your school or college's benchmark scores so you can see where they're performing well and where they need extra help. So your enterprise coordinator is there to support you on this journey. They can help you make careers relevant in school with the careers leader that you work with. Together, you can help them audit their careers program, track and record how students are doing, what activities they're getting involved in, is there any gaps, engage that senior leadership team and get the link governor along to a meeting, measure impact, map and signpost to resources. Your enterprise coordinator can always signpost you to things like Hertfordshire Opportunities Portal, the Careers Resource Directory and other resources. We can provide you with training and CPD along the way, and we're all working on that mission to get the careers leader and the careers program more time in the school's program. In those first few meetings, start thinking about finding out about the careers leader. Are they working on their own? Are they part of a careers team? Is that something you could help navigate them towards? What's their careers budget like? Is there a link governor that could come to a meeting? Schools have destinations data, so they have the percentage of how many students have gone to college, how many have gone to university, how many have gone into apprenticeships, how many are unemployed, which is called not in education, employment or training, or NEET. And then you can help put things into the program to help that number, the NEET number, be as low as possible. So again, you might want to pause the video in a moment, start thinking about what type of enterprise advisor you think you might be. Might you be an agile enterprise advisor? Might you work with one school or multiple schools? Do you think you might try one and then move into the other? Have a bit of a think and reflection on that. Would you be a local business champion who could introduce them to other employers? Are you someone that could talk and give advice about your own sector? Could you talk about recruitment, or do you have someone in your organisation in early talent that could come in and advise the school on practices around LinkedIn profiles and things like that for, say, the sixth form? Are you good at strategy? Could you help the careers leader look at their current strategy and what they're going to do over the next 2 or 3 years? Are you an entrepreneur? Could you start running some business kind of competitions within the school? Are you a sector-specific ambassador that's always worked in the same sector, has got loads of contacts, loads of information? Did you go to the school or college you're supporting? Are you alumni? Could you bring other alumni members in to give talks? Can you get involved in things like operational support? So do you have capacity to get involved in mock interviews and mock assessment centres, or is there someone in your organisation that could? So again, just have a think about what it is you would like to get involved in, but also listen to the careers leader in your first meetings. What do they need? What could you bring to the table? We're really fortunate in Hertfordshire to have a great resource called Hertfordshire Opportunities Portal. Please do take some time to follow these links and have a look on there. This has got apprenticeship opportunities in Hertfordshire, job profiles for students to research what different jobs are. It's got over 100 podcasts on different types of employment within Hertfordshire and different jobs and skills needed to do those. We have loads of opportunities to go to careers fairs. So we've got the Generation Careers Fairs in Hertfordshire, and there's about 9 or 10 of those running this year in different parts of the county where students can go and meet local employers offering opportunities in Hertfordshire. And then if you want to know a bit more about the Gatsby benchmarks, we've also got a Gatsby benchmark resource section, which has got videos on each benchmark on how the schools can meet those. We're really fortunate also to have created some resources that we've put on hot recently, getting ready for a workplace experience. So these are resources We'd encourage your careers leader to use these to help students get ready for work experience, work visits, and work shadowing. There is a video to help the students prepare. There's worksheets looking at skills and the Hertfordshire Skills Framework, and then a bit of time for reflection. What would be their next steps? What could they do after that to have the most impact? Mentioned it a little bit earlier, but either for yourselves to get involved and have a free stand, or to promote your school to make sure that they're getting parents and students along to this event, and maybe teachers, is our Hop into Apprenticeships and C-Level event on the 29th of January, 5:30 till 7. Please encourage them to sign up to this event. The generation events that I mentioned here is an overview of the ones that are running this year: Decorum, Hertford, Hartsmere, Bishop Stortford, Generation Well in Hatfield, Broxbourne, Watford and Three Rivers, Stevenage, and Generation St Albans. Again, you could either have a free stand at one of these, or encourage your schools to go along, or go and meet your school when they've got their time slot at these events. Hertfordshire Skills Framework is something that was developed with Services for Young People, the University of Hertfordshire, and we were formerly known as Hertfordshire LEP, but we're now known as Hertfordshire Futures. And this was looking at 300 employers and creating skills framework for what students need who leave school and enter into the world of work. So we've got things like digital skills, analytical and problem-solving skills, numeracy, literacy, teamwork, resilience, confidence, etc., etc. These resources are available on HOP, but also they're referenced in the workplace experience video as well. And there's also a slightly more modern infographic worksheet in the workplace experience video part of HOP as well. So I mentioned this a little bit earlier on, but some of the legal legislation around careers guidance, provider access legislation came into force in 2018 and then was further strengthened in January 2023, so that students need to have opportunities to hear from different employers, sectors, apprenticeship providers, colleges, training providers about all of the different options available to them as they move into transition points. So they should hear from someone in year 8, someone from year 9, another one in year 10, one in year 11, another one in year 12, and another one in year 13. So then by the time they've left, they've heard from lots of different opportunities and organisations to help them be informed to make their next best step. So either you might know people that are apprentices or people within your own organisation that could go and give a talk. Schools are really interested in hearing from different organisations now and giving time in PSHE or in assembly time for these people to give these talks. You might also be able to get involved in theme weeks. So every year at the beginning of February is National Apprenticeships Week, and at the beginning of March is National Careers Week, which is usually finished near the end of the week with International Women's Day. So there's always lots of activities going on in these weeks and these days. So feel free to ask your school about what they're doing or get involved or help them co-organise some activities. We've mentioned the benchmarks today, but if you'd like to find out a bit more about them, if you hover over on the right-hand side of the page, this will take you to the Careers and Enterprise website and give you information on each benchmark. Or there is a few-page handout on the most frequently asked questions, bottom right-hand of the page. If you hover over that thumbnail, and that will take you to the GATS benchmark frequently asked questions to help you get a bit more of an understanding of the benchmarks. If you're really enjoying this sort of topic and area and you want to grow your knowledge and your interest, there is a free Careers Leader Induction module on the Careers and Enterprise website, geared up mainly for careers leaders, but it's just as equally useful for enterprise advisors. So you can sign up to this module following the link on the right-hand side of the page. It'll give you an insight into careers leadership, labour market information, careers in the curriculum, experiences of the workplace, guidance, and more information around what the careers leader would do and the EA would do. So going to take a quick quiz now. Feel free to get yourself a pen and paper and answer some of these questions along the way. So question 1, what does an EC stand for? What does an EC stand for? And the answer is Enterprise Coordinator. And that is the main person that can support you, get the meetings set up, help you with training and resources, and will take a lead on the meetings in school or college. What is Gatsby Benchmark 4, which is seen as one of the hardest benchmarks to hit? The benchmark 4 is careers in the curriculum, so getting careers featured in assembly time, form time, PSHE, and in the curriculum lessons themselves. So particularly in things like National Careers Week, you might have themed lessons linked to the world of work. How many benchmarks is Hertfordshire currently hitting out of 8? And the answer is 6.6 out of 8 benchmarks on average in Hertfordshire currently. So now you're in the role of Enterprise Advisor. Can you remember a role that the Enterprise Advisor does? So that you're there to build that relationship with the senior leadership team, be that careers champion, connect the school or college with employers or your own business network, have that strategic input, be a business expert, help them evaluate their program and their benchmarks, and be that critical friend, or get involved in some delivery. Can you remember how long it takes to do the Compass audit, which they do once a term? It takes about 20 to 30 minutes to do a Compass or a Compass Plus audit. So Compass is the original tool. It's a bit of a lighter touch. Compass Plus, they're both free, but Compass Plus is a bit like having YouTube Premium or Spotify Premium, where you've got access to more tools and more information. Can you name a skill from the Hertfordshire Skills Framework? So you could have teamwork, adaptability, resilience, digital skills, analytical and problem solving skills, etc., etc. And there's links here to the skills framework if you want to find out more. Some schools have written the skills framework into their reporting or into their sixth form program. So a student might get a grade that they're working towards. They might get a score for their behaviour, and then they might also get which is their best skills and which skills do they need to work on more. So just getting near to the end now. I'm just going to give you a quick video again from Ollie to round off as to why yourselves being an enterprise advisor is so important to the work we do with young people here in Hertfordshire. Thank you.
The whole point about careers education is it must be linked to the jobs and vocations that young people are going into. And to do that, we need the voice of business and the voice of industry. I was a head teacher, and what I knew was that I worked with local employers that helped build the school. It helped make our curriculum more open to the things that young people needed. In a way, our school walls became more porous to the world of work, and that can only be good for the young people we were serving. So your role as an enterprise advisor is absolutely crucial. Bringing the voice of business, bringing the voice of local employment into the life of the school, making sure the curriculum is getting young people ready for the world of work, making sure the careers education is linked to the local jobs, making sure the careers leader and the head teacher has the support they need to build for the future. Stick at it, stay the course, be tenacious in your support for the careers leader and those young people, and together we can make a difference. And I know we can make a difference because EAs, enterprise advisors across the country, have been doing that. They're telling us they are being upskilled. They're telling us that they are supporting careers education. So stay the course and let us know if we can support you in any way. Good luck.
Thanks, Ollie. So if you and your organisation are getting more and more interested and want to do more outreach and work with schools and colleges in your local area, One thing that you can do, a little bit like the schools do the Gatsby benchmarks and the Compass audit, we've got something called employer standards, which are the 9 standards that employers can work towards when it comes to their outreach and engagement. Probably takes about half an hour to 40 minutes to complete the first time, and then if you repeat that process, it will become quicker. But we've got the 9 pillars of the employer standards when working with young people and outreach. So providing meaningful opportunities, being inclusive, how you evaluate and improve what you're doing, how you build essential skills into your programs of outreach work, how you best prepare young people for application processes, how you raise their awareness around the different pathways such as apprenticeships and graduate schemes, how you engage over the long term, how you partner with others, and how you value that engagement. So if you're interested, follow the links to find out a bit more about the employer standards or talk to your enterprise coordinator. Thanks for your time today. Away from today, your enterprise coordinator can give you any information about safeguarding. If you've signed up to the programme, you may have done this already, but if not, if you could sign up and complete a memorandum of understanding and send that to your enterprise coordinator and myself, Steve Trotter. And then also have a look on HOP and look on the resource directory of the Careers and Enterprise as well. Thank you for your support. All the best in your role, and look forward to seeing you in a school meeting or a networking event soon. Thanks a lot. Take care. And bye-bye. Thank you.